mean, first-time major qualification, if they can stay alive in the RMR, you've got all of the good elements, thinking about the future, the potential, whereas for Falcons, if they fail to make it here, Vince, and lose this series, it's devastating for these players.
Yeah, I think it's very safe to say, and it's a fair assessment for the pressure to be firmly on Falcon's shoulders because the expectancy is much higher for this org and these players. As you said, throughout, the pedigree of this team is massive. But here we go. Best of 3 coming right up. Falcons on the CT side of Vertigo.
We kick it off then with our first map. It all starts here. AMKAL on the T side. Having a quick look at the utility they've gone for in this one. Smoke and Molotov use the flames to block off the sandbags and see if you can set a path towards the site. Smoke goes down, but Madden's in position, Vince, and he's got backup.
He does. There's a flurry of CTs waiting outside here, but not able to deny the plant. It's going to go straight down in the smoke. And having a look at their utility, they've got no HEs or incendiaries, but they do have bullets, they do have sidearms. SunPayus goes in, connects the first one. He has been traded out though. Magisk needs to survive. This gives them a linchpin to play off, but Nickelback has thwarted all of that.
They're going straight on for the defuse though. Snappi sticking it, and no one can force him off. Icy does eventually find the head, and it's all on Madden to get the job done. 9 HP, Vince, time's ticking. Even if he baits them back in, it looks like AMKAL have got a firm grasp on the round, and it's Icy that shuts it down with 2.
Very close on that defuse. I think that was milliseconds away. Snappi nearly snatching it from under the nose of AMKAL, but they manage with Icy to lock it down. Nickelback with those 2 kills on ramp, though. I think that was maybe the moment that they sealed this round up, because any kind of flank, any kind of dispersal of attention looking from ramp and also the site simultaneously went with his death. Very well played in the end, and AMKAL securing it up. They now have the options. The Falcons want to go in for a force? The answer is a yes.
Madden. He takes the peak with the Deagle early on, at least gets the information about this round from AMKAL's setup. Using some of that utility to zone out the aggressive angles as well. A lot of Deagles, and also 1 MP9 in the hands of Snappi, Vince. Up close, this could really be the meat grinder that bites its way through them, and Forrester falls.
That puts Krad into a bit of an awkward position now, stuck behind the crane and the smoke. And BOROS, we know what he's capable of doing with that D, but Krad is going to deny it this time. And can just back away. So much action is happening in such a short period of time. There's still over a minute on the clock. So, I mean, AMKAL on into any kind of forced, uncomfortable position as it stands.
No, you can always cut noise, reset the round. It's exactly what they're doing, at least towards ramp early. You've still got so much utility as well. The smokes, the flashbangs to play off the back of each other, and they do prime the smokes. They're going to bloom those on towards the site. SunPayus playing on the lip of it. Madden would have first contact. He's got a good angle at least with the added height to work with, and it's going to throw off the crosshairs. Needs to hit the headshot though. At least Pepper's the first player, and SunPayus can trade onto it. Icy response. We're down to the 3v3.
Icy's got a second one as well, and a third kill in quick succession on the side of AMKAL. The HE though will deny the bomb plant, and it gives Magisk an opportunity, a chance here. He's also healthy, full HP, and an Galil's been picked up. A winnable round for the Dane. You can hear the bomb being planted down now. Was hoping maybe for a fake in the dying embers of this round, but that's not the case. First player is going to go in, and he's down to 9 HP, but if he can land that quick fire headshot, maybe there's a way forward for Magisk here. Smoke up and over, going to try and draw away the attention of Travis, who pops up, and Magisk puts him down. A solid 1v2 clutch at the very beginning of this best of 3.
You think about for this man alone, Vince, the times he's walked into the major arena, the times he's been there himself, knowing losing this game would mean he doesn't get that opportunity in the first CS2 major. It would be ripped away from him. It shows up massively. A beautiful clutch. Snappi exploding as well. And this is what we needed to see, Vince. This is a game changer already, right? You lose that opening pistol round. It feels like things are getting away from you at the start of the series. Suddenly you get a big clutch round and the momentum is there. That kind of excitement is what was missing from Falcons. They look dejected. They look upset yesterday. But already now, Snappi showing the prowess of the leader that he is.
And of course, on top of the accolades that you just mentioned, this is a potential home crowd major for Magisk and also Snappi as well. a chance to play in front of your family on home soil. It doesn't get much better than that.
It's mad. Sonic there as well, Vince. The stories write themselves.
BOROS is trying to right his way back into this round as AMKAL have bypassed the smokes and the flashes, but Travis in the meanwhile, opposite side of Magisk M4, Madden is going to keep the dream alive and actually puts them into an advantageous position, but Krad, he's flanking, he's lurking, Snappi spots him, but not quick enough on the draw. And SunPayus may have the bomb down under control, but both players pretty healthy at this point. The M4 should triumph over the Galil, but SunPayus is playing a dangerous game here of cat and mouse behind the sights. And now, it's going to be down to Krad to try and push in. Spray comes out, but SunPayus shuts him down. Such an important round again. 2 clutches back-to-back for Falcons.
Fine margins, but delivering. Getting the rounds when it matters. Oh, it looked worrying though, Vince. I thought we were already going to get that flip-flop where you see AMKAL actually clap back, pull away another round. Vertigo could really deliver here. Look at the anticipation as well, just how tense these rounds are when it's going down to these nail-biting 1v1s already. We've only seen 3 rounds of Counter-Strike into this best of 3, elimination best of 3, and it is already getting very scary.
The tension already is tangible in this game. Magisk only can get 1, but does bait out for BOROS to triple up with his M4 spray. And although it is an eco, this is all building into the confidence of the young man. Krad in the meanwhile can only do maybe a kill's worth of damage if he's lucky, and maybe Falcons overstep the mark here, but a Glock in his hands, not really going to yield much in return.
Really just hoping that maybe he gets the opportunity to use that Zeus. You can see him smiling with it. The round itself is pretty cooked. He's going to wait. Still 48 seconds left in the round. Surely at some point they're going to get a bit antsy. That's all he's hoping for. He's been trying to fake noise running back and forth consistently here. So if there's a player nearby, obviously you get the audio cue. Maybe you want to clear it, just finish off the round, and he can try and tase you. And BOROS, he wants to carry on. Close the round down with 4K. SunPayus will snatch that one away. So Falcons get themselves the easy round, Vince. No casualties really, so they're going to be pretty happy with that one. They don't waste funds unnecessarily.
Yeah, exactly. That's all about the CT economy being built up early doors. The importance of bouncing back as fast as possible as you can on this half. Still in the opening stages of this best of 3. This is AMKAL's pick. Next will be Ancient. And our final destination will be Mirage if we need it. I think a lot of people on paper would say Falcons are the favorites in this game, Jackie, but from what we've seen so far in this tournament, I think this is very evenly matched.
Falcons have had some tough opposition, but they've been struggling in a lot of the important rounds, Vince. You can't afford to have that happen here. It's a best of 3. It's a different ballpark as well. You should be able to find your form. 2-man set up towards the ramp. Madden with the first contact. BOROS using the nades to hold them back. They're fighting for it. Madden strikes with 2 already, Vince, so he has cut this push in half, leaving Forrester trapped on an island.
They have to throw in the towel if they continue to hemorrhage players, which is what's happening here. Icy can muster up 1, but they've lost 3 players in the process. And with that, tons of utility. They've only got a smoke left between the 2 of them. They at least have control over the bomb, which is the only saving grace, but they've thrown in their smoke, mainly as a lurk. Allows them to trade up from the Galil to the AK. There's just no easy path forwards towards the site. Additionally, SunPayus, BOROS are both here in separate angles. They have a mid-rotational player in the form of Madden that can quickly switch back around, but BOROS has been plucked out from Krad. 30 seconds left. AMKAL still in this round.
25 seconds. Krad taking space. SunPayus wants to peek in. Shoulders seen. Krad strikes and finds the first. Doubles up as well, Vince. The entries are allowing them a path into the bomb site, and Magisk on the rotate doesn't expect Icy. He grabs it. And again, this storyline we're seeing here on Vertigo continues. It's down to these tight 1v1 rounds in the last few seconds, Vince. None of them have been guaranteed.
But we were even talking about this in the early stages when Madden popped off with a double kill. This is the moment here where we're saying Falcons have had difficult opposition. They've played against FaZe, they've played against Eternal Fire, two legit teams that could both progress through to the major. But in those difficult, close rounds is where they faltered, where they stalled. The exact same thing. AMKAL just won a 2v4.
What do Falcons do to answer straight back, Vince? Blind, kicking and screaming. They bury two of them. Travis and Nickelback already done for towards the B site, and they've got control towards Pit by stairs now. It's going to be an awful lot harder if you want to commit and fight on B. They're playing on the edge of the smoke as well. Magisk's looking for confidence frags, Vince, but he comes unstuck.
And they'll have very recent memory of that 2v4 that just transpired in the round prior. They don't want to give two of those away in a row. This time, it's even additional firepower they're up against. AMKAL have 3. Nickelback and Travis, the 2 casualties, but they still have an inform Icy on 7 frags. Krad, who just went nuclear in that previous round to secure it with multiple entries. And Forrester, who's always a pain in the backside, he's also quite an entry-focused player. And speak of the man, and he will deliver. Molly's now being tossed to the back of the site, and Krad's picked up another one. Surely not again, Falcons.
The duo of AMKAL delivering once more. Madden, though, is going to be able to pick this up, piece together around and support Snappi on this retake. 30 seconds, both of them group up together. Last of the utility is used. Smoke round the corner. Icy waiting for the push, but straight through the smoke. Forrester finds it. The scalpel makes an incision, and the CTs realize this one's gone. You've got to give it up. Falcons will lose out on the round, and AMKAL equalize with 3 of their own.
That was a 5v3. The last 2 rounds have been a 2v4 loss and a 5v3 loss for Falcons. I mean, how can you justify that? This is the team that needs to be winning these rounds. I mean, if you want a chance of making the major and going far in the major, no disrespect to AMKAL at all, but these are the kind of rosters that Falcons has to beat and beat comprehensively. You can't be losing rounds like this consistently.
It's painful as well, because like you say, they've got both of those opening frags for free, Vince. They have complete control towards the B bomb site. I just thought there was room for a little bit more. And it all just unraveled straight after.
Left hanging. Oh, that one stinks.
It's a bit painful.
It's fine, they've won the last 2 rounds. You can feel confident knowing that they're on the right track. And Falcons, Snappi backed off to try and save. So realistically, coming into this round, it's not going to fare much better for Falcons. They went for that full force in the last one. They got early success. Match has been paused, however. So we'll have a few more moments to mull this one over, Jackie. But yeah, I mean, it's been a very tentative and tense opening to this game.
And I think it's one of those where this is something that will continue to be a trend. When you cut to the cameras, when you see Falcons, the way, especially for Snappi, right? Like, he's telling the whole story on his face with the way that he's reacting when you lose these rounds, when you win these rounds. And we really can't kind of state enough, like, how devastating it would be for either of these 2 teams to be knocked out of the RMR. It's one of the most painful, gut-wrenching feelings that you can go through in your career inside of Counter-Strike. To make it here, playing inside this studio with a chance to make it to the major, to have that ripped away from you. It's like nothing else, Vince.
Oh, it makes it that much more palpable and difficult and painful is knowing that it was in your hands all along. You have the opportunity to carve your own path in this performance-based team FPS. Now Nickelback goes in, he's gonna clear open the gens. This round, of course, a lack of investment. It was only the saved M4 from Snappi.
Bomb has been planted.
But this B site's taking a peppering. You know, the memes about Vertigos is only one site. It's A all day, every day. And so far, this B site hasn't looked like a fortress. And that's going to give AMKAL a lot of confidence going forward. Maybe draws Falcons away into early rotations in future rounds, and that's where they can get more success on A. Solid frags, though, from Snappi. It's not going to make much of a difference in terms of where the round is going to come down, but does afford them to save potentially 3 rifles. That's a really solid outcome.
Yeah, this round, towards the end at least, has changed massively for them. Madden played a smart off angle by the window. Gets himself a free Kalashnikov. Especially if they can hold on to these. They're not only going to get free weapons, but pretty much cleaning house on the T side as well. So, meaning they're going to spend a lot of that cash. Whereas Falcons, even a 2-player save, it bails you out a lot more. You can balance that CT economy and get a complete full buy out of it. Have the extra bells and whistles you need, Vince. We're going to see that utility coming back out.
Yeah, exactly that, Jackie, because if they don't save any weapons, you're looking at maybe an MP9 picked up, maybe a Deagle instead, because they're all around that $4,000 to $4,500 mark, and you need utility on Vertigo. It's so important. Having those incendiaries for ramp control, just for dealing with mid and B, respectively, is huge. And they also get the AWP out for SunPayus. He's got 7 kills so far. He's had a solid game, but we haven't seen him with the AWP, and now we have it. Picks off the first kill onto Forrester.
The scope doesn't betray him. Instant first pick. You can see the new effects of the brand new update in play here as well, with the way it looks towards the edges of the scope. That slight distortion, slight fisheye effect. Just something to be aware of now in current Counter-Strike. AMKAL though, losing that opening pick, finally being tested towards the ramp early. What's the response? 2 players, one from either team, over towards the B-bomb site. Actually, BOROS has got a bit of backup, playing the off angle towards the back pillar. Magisk in position with him, and they're going to test this hold, Vince.
Oh, they're going to be interested to dip their toe in the pool and see what the temperature's looking like. And Travis is happy, takes the kill, can back away if needs be. There's still 50 seconds on the clock. They find themselves a player behind, but they've been in these situations already twice and delivered. Madden joining alongside BOROS. Molly's not extending far enough to deal with these positions. And now Travis and the rest of AMKAL are about to just push straight in, but there's BOROS with a double spray. And that is exactly why he is such a tantalizing prospect in this roster. Mechanically speaking, he is extremely solid.
Such a young player and so much raw talent. Makes it look easy with the spray control, doesn't he? It's like there is just no recoil at all. Everyone just got blown away. The game itself, though, the real big factor being the rounds, well, that's tied up 4 apiece. The first half of the first map, and a best of 3 that decides your fate. Falcons erupting. The energy's there. They've been switching up their setups an awful lot towards the B site as well. AMKAL love going for these B plays, though.
I know, right? It's strange. They hit and run, Jackie. They get their kill, they just back off straight away with a HE alongside it. But yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing to me because, yes, B site is getting a lot more play than it used to. But the fact they've barely even touched the A side of the map so far is very, very odd.
I suppose the entries have been working for them. Oh, this already got a little bit awkward towards middle, actually. They tried to run down Magisk. I mean, Forrester found a way in. Not being able to pull off the backstab makes it so much worse. Just Krad and Icy. About a minute left. Both of you kind of trapped, really, with the timing. Use the last of the utility to force the players out of position, but just taking a lot of damage from that Molotov. But luckily, he's got the backup of the scope. SunPayus finishes Krad. Icy might just have to limp his way out of this one. Let it tick on by.
And maybe that is the round being so comprehensively won on the B side again. And fair play to Falcons for ironing in those gaps and figuring out where they can make the micro adjustments. Maybe we are going to see AMKAL start to facilitate their push over onto the A side of the map just that little bit more. Or at least bait out some mid control as well. That's another way that you can draw out B defenders quickly onto the window, onto CT spawn, try and deal with the elevated potential push around the back of A. We'll have to wait and see what happens because AMKAL, they're going to save this AK. Icy will survive. But Falcons picking up steam again. And I suppose if you're Falcons as well, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you're gutted, you let 2v4, 5v3 situations go against you. On the other side, if you're looking at optimistically, like, well, we got ourselves in that position in the first place. If we can close those rounds out as we should, we'd have a vast lead right now. We'd be dominating this map.
But they already won a couple of them, right? Yeah. So it's one of those where it's could have gone so much worse than it really did. Yeah, it could have gone better. But for either team, it's a tight affair. It's a close game. Bit of a tightrope first half on Vertigo. Benefit for Falcons is they've weathered the storm long enough to break the bank that was starting to build up for AMKAL. And they've got confidence on these A plays. Since SunPayus has donned the orb, you can see they're willing to fight for ramp as they normally would. Take deep control, use their aggressive utility. Mostly pistols off the back of Icy saved AK, and blind but still fragging, Icy is slain.
Yeah, solid shot from SunPayus. It just forces the T's back a little bit. They could have forced them off into the angles. They could have tried to push up ramp and just swarmed over the CTs and swell the site, but instead it's Snappi that gets down. I don't think he realizes there's a player in the smoke just behind him right now. And Travis with the Glock could get the drop onto SunPayus. Nails him. Now puts Snappi in a bit of an awkward position. He does have some comeback as well with Madden, but they both gone down to the Glocks. A 2-on-2 now takes shape. If Falcons lose this round, it's going to be so devastating.
Travis has got himself the AWP as well from the corpse of SunPayus, Vince! Oh, he's looking towards the back of the site. The nade comes flying in, and it does blow him away. All of the pressure now falls onto Krad. He's tiptoeing his way up towards the site, but he's being flanked. There's a man in the rear. BOROS slowly taking his time as he starts to flank up and finds the freebie. The headshot onto Krad. A kill that closes it. But AMKAL, the heads-up decision-making. You push through the smoke, make no noise. Snappi's thinking he's got all the ramp control. Would have seen him. Gets the kill onto the AWP, nearly pieces it together. That's a sick round.
That, you know, in the context of just that round by itself, that's a huge W for AMKAL, honestly. Glocks, one saved AK-47. You put the AWP down, yes, they pick it back up again, but you get multiple kills, and you make Falcons sweat. I think Snappi had expended all 30 bullets of his MP9. That's why he was on his Glock, his sidearm there. Very uncomfortable situation, but Falcons still pass it this time. They don't allow another clutch to go against them. They've got early mid presence as well. AMKAL slowing the pace down.
The Falcons, they were kind of playing inside of a box. It felt like they had lost a lot of their confidence in the opening rounds. Now they're playing more aggressive again. They're taking map control. They're fighting for it. Off angle in play though for Krad. Meanwhile, ramp is under siege. BOROS, he wanted to crouch around the corner and find the pick, but he's been taken down by the tripwire, and it all goes down to a 4 versus 3. Most of them gravitating towards the A site. You've still got mid covered by Magisk as well.
Snappi with just a P2000 in this round. They had tons of cash. What's going on here, Snappi? I have absolutely no idea why he just has a pistol. I mean, this feels... He's got 5K in his back pocket. Just forgot, I guess? Either way, he'll be hoping that Magisk and SunPayus can dig him out of this ditch. I mean, effectively, this is a 2.5 versus a 4 at this stage. Not that AMKAL will necessarily know that. Snappi's unable to get across to a weapon either. They're out of range for him. SunPayus, though, connects the first shot. Snappi can maybe play a little bit of bait here and try and draw out some fire. Hiding in the smoke between two players, but Forrester's found him. And SunPayus on the wrong side of the smoke just has to back away with 15 seconds. This bomb is looking to get planted down a slight gap in that smoke, and SunPayus makes the most of it. But the plant has come through.
SunPayus is controlling the retake single-handedly, but he's got backup. Magisk has already won a single clutch from this position, and he thrusts it into a 1v2, all on Forrester. SunPayus does it all on his own. It doesn't matter they don't have guns to work with to back him up. The AWP will slay them, and AMKAL lose another round where they were inches away from stealing it.
Man, this is like a 7-4 scoreline that could easily be reversed on another day. They've been so nail-bitingly close. And it's great to see, man. SunPayus is really having a stellar performance. When they played against Eternal Fire, we had the conversation, the desk had the conversation of like, it's Woxic versus SunPayus. On paper, SunPayus is probably the better AWPer. It wasn't the case on that day. He had a very slow day at the office. Here we are, 14 kills, all of them massively impactful. Great to see.
And I think that's really the big part, right? Is they're just all barrels of impact frags. None of them are kind of in freebies. Every time he's tested, he passes with flying colors. They've gone for this same take towards mid in terms of the setup. But they've had to play a little bit more lax towards B. A lot of info, at least from the nades. That'll pass over what the plan was for AMKAL. You'll know off the audio cues they were trying to gravitate towards the B sites. They bail on the idea and reposition.
FaZe has to tread very lightly. He's typically one of the guys that's at the front of the pack as well. You need those fast entry frags from him. So on 4 HP, can't really justify going in first. He's more watching the flank at this stage. Madden jump peeking. Has spotted multiple players. Oh, BOROS. He's found the timing, he's found the window, and he snatches Forrester away.
Been quite a few rounds where the flank from BOROS has been a difference maker. Oh, he's got all the info in the world. Positionally, he could completely cauterize this rotation with a single slice. Chops his way through one. Snappi gets the backstab onto Nickelback. Now they have to run round towards the B bomb site and look to defend against the last two members of AMKAL.
Magisk was playing anti-flash. And this should be a slaughter. They line up and Snappi actually gets a team kill, but doesn't really matter. 8-4 the score coming through to that second half. 4 rounds on the bounce for Falcons. And if there was any worries or doubts about losing a 2v4 and a 3v5 in 2 rounds consecutively, that's been put to bed now, Jackie. They definitely stabilized.
It's a crazy half. With how many 1v1s it went down to, how many moments that could have been horrific for either team. SunPayus really bailing them out in so many positions as well.
Yeah.
Snappi laughing it off. I do also wonder what on earth went on with that round. Harry ended up with just the P2K.
Yeah. Because everyone had $5,000 or higher. Like, they were rolling in the cash, so I can only assume that he was in the middle of a call, his mind was elsewhere, he just forgot to buy a weapon. It shows they're human after all, right?
The thing is, at least they won that round, right?
Yeah.
Because that's kind of one of those where at least now, towards the end of the game, you can laugh it off. In the moment, it probably is like a, oh, don't lose this one, dog.
Yeah, that's the round that SunPayus picked up a 4K with the AWP push at the back of the site. Julies go in, but it's BOROS again with a pistol. Proving himself to be quite the beast in these rounds. He always seems to have a couple of kills up his sleeve, and in doing so, they can just back out of there. Don't have to fully commit to the site, go back onto ramp again.
AMKAL, historically, have always looked pretty good on these pistols. Krad's playing for info. He gets just that. Falcons clearing out the sandbags, making a ton of noise as they set themselves up for the play towards the A site. Backup's arrived, and it's Icy with the dualies.
Krad behind the smoke, though. Oh, the timing! He turns around just as SunPayus pushes. And that was maybe the ace up the sleeve that they had. And instead, it's gone and turned into a joker, and now Forrester is getting peppered through the smoke and finalized. Not only do Falcons win the round, they don't lose a single player. That's the kind of confidence build around you want to see. And they look dialed in and focused.
Sigh of relief. Guaranteeing that pistol round is really going to make things a lot easier for them. Mentality-wise, and in terms of just the economic stance alone, you're going to have the cash to play with, whereas AMKAL don't have that blessing. So Falcons, they could put themselves in a position where you've got 10 rounds under your belt on the first map of this best of 3 before AMKAL really even have a chance to go toe-to-toe and fight back for it.
Options are limited on the side of AMKAL right now. Other teams in this position would just decide to stack onto one site, maybe send one player for a fact-finding mission, a bit of intel. Travis may be the man for the job as he's pushing into middle right now. A chance of a bit of reprieve now. I think for Falcons, this is where the pressure just eases off their shoulders just a tad. They know it's going to be very likely a low investment buy, but they can't be sure there's not some forced buy shenanigans in.
Inch by inch, grenade by grenade, Falcons make their play up towards B. Seems like a tech issue as well there with Forrester, though, as he's been DC'd. They've taken the bomb site. But the round itself, obviously, just kind of the eco, a bit more of a formality, all things considered. And for what it looks like, you're playing basically just for the exits as they come out towards B. Worst case scenario is if they just get farmed up by the Mat 10. That's so much extra money for free.
It's caught between two separate angles here. The spray should be good, should be on point, and it should be the round. And I think this kind of encapsulates, obviously, Forrester DC'd, so it's the UI is a little bit skewed right now, but it is kind of Falcons versus Falcons in a lot of ways, you could say. Like their own worst enemy at times. But so far, it seems like they've put those demons to rest, and they have taken a 10-4 lead.
It's like the meme. Don't trust anyone, Vince. Not even yourself, you know? Just Snappi standing behind himself. That'd be good. That'd be good banter.
Just looking into the mirror. I'm thinking of the Creed and Rocky movies as well, you know? Inspirational. And AMKAL need a hero right now. They are struggling. They are submerged, and they're gasping for breath, and they're running out of oxygen.
You can still turn this game around. It's been down to very, very tight 1v2 situations. And with a change of confidence, finally having weapons in their hands, maybe this will be a bit of a difference for them. Early nades set up to deal chip damage on ramp. Smoke goes off as well to block the timing from Falcons, but they're edging further up. Nickelback saw the head of SunPayus, and the Molotov will force him out of position. Icy still alive, but his teammate falls.
And it looks like AMKAL are tripping over themselves. Some great utility from Falcons. Now Icy and Forrester, though, is going to step up and deliver with 2 kills at great cost to Icy's health, but still in the fight. Molly tossed to heaven. He's going to land on the headshot boxes instead and forces away plays. They would have heard a couple of tickles off that Molotov. There's still a minute left on the clock, and they do have control from the back as well, so they don't have to fully commit to this side. And the SunPayus just making sure all these angles are covered off before he goes in for the plant.
One of the edges they had, though, was the offensive utility. They had a HE and a Molotov on Magisk. He's thrown both of them out towards CT side and only did about 20 damage between both. Now they can edge their way back in. They're trying to take the site control as they're creeping their way towards the players. First man's going to fall. Magisk with a double up, and it's all on Krad. Famas in hand. Finds one. Time's ticking, though. It's not looking good. The overall round itself really slipping away from him now. They had a small chance to get this one, but it's gone.
Yeah, it was just a slightly ajar window that they were trying to exploit and make a move through, but it was quickly closed, and Falcons picking up pace as Magisk goes down with the ship. He'll be fine with that one. They have tons of cash in reserve. But 11-4 the score, and again, Jackie, this is the choice of AMKAL. This is a map where AMKAL feel very confident on, and when you're moving next into the likes of Ancient and then Mirage, these are maps where Falcons, yes, the sample size is low, but they've always looked pretty solid on these maps. So I don't think it's boding a very pretty picture for AMKAL right now.
And even just for the scoreline alone, you kind of want to get a bit more out of it. Feel like you've got a couple of rounds under your belt, a couple of plays as well. Build that confidence level back up. Otherwise, it's so hard going into the second map to just keep your head up, instantly reset mentality-wise. It's a nice change in terms of the setup towards the B-bomb site with the boost brought out. But again, SunPayus, he's just been causing havoc with the orb on either side. Doesn't matter if he even finds the pick, he's just dealing damage that breaks the hold for AMKAL.
Well, this is the kind of test, right? You know, we were talking coming into the game that Falcons, their opening 2 fixtures were very tough. It was FaZe and Eternal Fire. Now they play a team that most people would expect them to beat. You could have said the same for Eternal Fire, although I think Eternal Fire are very underrated right now from a lot of people. We were discussing that the other day. But this is the kind of game where it's like, okay, Falcons, what have you really got to show for yourselves? So come out here and have a really solid performance so far on Vertigo. SunPayus also showing up and giving a lot of performance. That bodes well for Falcons, I would have to say. I think that's going to be a confidence builder. Speaking of the man, he has to try and force off Nickelback, who's going to get completely sideswiped from Magisk. It's another post plant coming in, and more of the same. Some aggression from Travis as he just leaps around the corner, but he will be dealt with swiftly.
Krad. He wanted to keep the dream alive for a little bit longer, but BOROS says no.
It's fine.
Man, jumping around the corner as well. When I saw him hit that first shot, I was thinking, okay, maybe there's a bit of room here for a little bit of chaos, a bit of carnage, but it's dealt with. And from how those opening rounds went, back towards the first half, where you're thinking, this could be anyone's game. This is a series where Falcons look human, they're giving away a couple of opportunities, and there's been some sick shots that AMKAL have been hitting. The longer it went on, the worse things went. And now Vince, Falcons look firmly in control. Icy gets the opening pick, though, as he takes down BOROS. Starts off round 17 with success, at least.
SunPayus gets flashed out. Nickelback's there to follow up. Madden burning to a crisp on 28 HP, throwing the smoke to keep himself alive. And with AMKAL shutting down ramp, it is going to afford them the luxury of maybe trying to bolster up a bit more aggression elsewhere on the map now inside and swell in. Make this feel a claustrophobic endeavor. Travis threw the smoke onto Magisk. So we're not done just yet, Jackie. It's been a real romp on this half for Falcons. They've had everything go their way. I think this is 8 rounds in a row. It was 4-4 at one stage. Finally, AMKAL maybe waking up a little bit.
And honestly, even if you can't actually claw this one back, to force it into an OT, the more rounds you get, the more momentum you start to build up. The easier it is at least going into the next map where you start to feel a little bit more like, yeah, all right, there was some sick shots on that one. You got to play the game a little bit as well, Vince, just in terms of keeping yourself feeling ready for some of the gunfights, right? It's a bit hard. Sometimes you come straight into the studio, you know, you've done as much as you can, obviously, on the lead up. But once you're in, if you feel like, oh, I just haven't been able to get into it, you're getting your head ripped off in some of these rounds that you feel like you should win, can slow you down, knock you out of that flow state. So you'd hope they can build themselves back up and see if they can keep themselves in it. Snappi's just playing the long con. Obviously, timing-wise, there's not really going to be anything that will happen into the round. He'll just look to see if he can track anyone down, maybe deny a saved weapon. But the rounds are the bigger picture. That's what he's worried about.
Yeah, exactly. And just keep the AK alive. You can drop this to Magisk, or they can try and share out the money between the 5 of them. They should be good to go. I completely agree with you. I think players at this level are very capable of detaching themselves from the previous game. You have to have kind of a short memory, I think, to be a pro CS player. A lot of maps you're going to get away from. You're going to have bad performances. You're going to have shots that you wish you'd hit, clutches you wish you'd made. That's the nature of the beast. But there is also a recency bias, I think. If you come into the next map knowing that you strung together 3 or 4 rounds, you pick up that confidence, it does translate through. I completely agree with you. So even if they can make this like a 12-8 sort of scoreline, 13-8, I should say, there's still at least something to be excited about. There's something to be a bit optimistic about. And maybe we're selling them short right now, but SunPayus cuts the life of Icy short with the AWP. And in doing so, ramp now becomes that little bit more tentative for AMKAL. They have to tread lightly.
And with the tiny amount of space created, Madden has taken a mile of map control off of AMKAL. And you thought maybe that would be the play to sell them down the river. Instead, though, Forrester trades it back. Does get the advantage now. 4 versus 3, minute on the clock to play with. And it's still SunPayus that's finding all of these big impact moments for Falcons. He's been such a great entry tool on the T and CT side with this AWP, but will they be able to make their move into the site? Again, he delivers.
It allows BOROS to slowly sneak his way up. He's also on 16 frags, by the way, but misses the spray. The way he's been playing, you'd expect that to connect, but he would have called. A lot of damage was done. They may not anticipate the double stack on side, and that will cost SunPayus his life. So, Nickelback and AMKAL winning those last 2 rounds. This time he's not left hanging. Feels good, man. But 6 more to go, Jackie. The road to recovery has only just begun.
1 round at a time. The more you start to win these rounds, the more that sinking feeling comes back for Falcons as well. You remember back towards the start of the game, how much pressure it looked like was on them. The longer it went on, starting to look a bit more like themselves. You start seeing the game slip away, suddenly you get brought back down to reality. For AMKAL, there is not a single mistake that can be made. And that means a lot more pressure on their AWPer, on Icy. A round like this, he needs to thrive. Nickelback takes all of the fight. He tries to deal damage. The trades aren't looking good for them, though. 2 picks back in favor of Falcons, and they're running up the ramp.
It should still be an AMKAL round, but that's sloppy trading. As you said, doesn't look good at all on that approach. You're expecting each of those rifles, realistically, to get 2 kills each. They should be in a position where if you do get traded back, it's like a 3v1, and it's almost untenable at that stage. As it stands, though, because that was so fast, minute left on the clock, they have control of the bomb, they've now traded up to 2 rifles instead, and although they don't have Kevlar on these players, you always know when you have a SunPayus Magisk on the server, they're going to be quick with it when it comes to hitting those headshots. This has suddenly got into a very scary round for AMKAL.
That A1S on the T side. Oh, it could cause issues, especially for Travis. Didn't expect them to walk their way out middle. A round where Falcons had nothing to their name, but they're making it work, piecing together the final round that they needed off the back of the broken round. And for Krad, it's all on him to clutch it, finds the head of Magisk. He's baited round the corner, and isn't it fitting? It's SunPayus with a stolen AWP to close it. He was the difference maker for Falcons in the map, and he guarantees their victory in the first.
Yeah, excellent performance from SunPayus. Excellent. Not just the 23 kills. We mentioned this before. He gets a 4K in a round where Snappi just had a P2000. So many double or triple multi.